What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Silver Screen Shenanigans podcast. Today's question of the day is if you had to implement technology within your body to upgrade it, would you do that? And I don't know, it sounds really cool and really tempting, but for me it's a no. Just because of how freaked out I got at the end of this movie called Upgrade, where this guy had an AI put into a skeleton in his nervous system and his brain and everything, and it by the end of it, it took over his body and didn't give control back to him. And I think the idea of that is super terrifying. So it's a no for me.
I'm Riley, and I mean, for me it's a yes, because it doesn't even matter if it doesn't do anything. I just think it'd be kind of cool to have much mechanical parts in your body.
True. I mean, put wheels on your feet and just go zoom.
True. Oh, dude, that'd be kind of cool. It's just skates, but worse. It's just the worst skates.
But the reason we're talking about technology within the body is kind of a weird segue, I guess. But it's what happens a lot here in this movie we're talking about today called Iron Man 3. And it starts off a little weird, a little different than his first couple movies, because I don't think
before the production agency even starts, the mountain with the stars, it's already Tony's already talking.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think he started off with narration yet at this point.
Not any Iron Man movies.
No.
I don't think.
So and immediately stuff is blowing up.
Yeah, his suits are blowing up.
And it starts off with a line that Tony doesn't know who said it, but it's well, some cool guy said it, and now I'm saying it. So, two cool guys saying this. He says that we create our own demons, and yeah, that's no truer than for Tony Stark. A lot of his villains and a lot of other people's villains he creates inadvertently, but still kind of does.
Well, he made the first Iron suit, and they put that suit back together to make Ironmonger.
Yeah.
Right? Ironmonger?
Yep.
Okay. And then the next one was the Whip guy, and
which wasn't really him, it was his dad. Sins of our father, I guess.
Yeah, true. But somehow that guy got the arc reactor, which Tony had.
Which wouldn't have happened because of Tony, yeah.
And then Tony also told him how to make his suit better.
Yeah.
So he kind of made that worse for himself.
And then we'll get into how he sort of created this villain in this one. So yeah, it starts with this opening image of just a couple of his suits just in his home just being blown up. But I don't know what any of that means yet.
And then it cuts to an opening scene of 1999
Switzerland
at some, a Y2K party.
Some big party, yeah. Where at least what my parents have told me and my grandparents, everybody was freaking out. What was going to happen after Y2K?
Well, they didn't know how the computers would be able to handle it.
So they thought the whole system would crash.
They thought that everything would crash. Yeah.
They didn't think the numbers could turn over.
Yeah, just go back to zero.
But of course, who's the guy that does not care is Tony Stark. He's drunk. This is of course back before he has his realization of humanity in the desert. Yeah. So he's still kind of a jerk.
I thought it was really funny. They have a line where it's Tony, I really loved your speech. And he goes, I gave a speech? How was it?
He is on some drugs or something. He's drunk or both. And he's has this girl. He's I don't think we know her name yet, but he's kind of walking around with her. But
also his everybody had a name tag, and his name tag said, "You know who I am."
Which, I mean, again, he's not wrong. We do know who he is. But he's walking around with this girl and all these this posse of, I don't know, people. Oh, and Happy's got the
he's got
the what is that tie called?
Bolo tie?
He's got a bolo tie and a mullet. It's like end of the goatee. And it's like, oh, happy. Ooh.
He's making some bad decisions.
And then they go up, and then they meet this like scientist dude who's just giving this like spiel to Tony about.
They had continuity. He met Jensen at this party.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So the guy who helped him in the cave, he met, as well as a heart doctor at the Switzerland.
Yeah. Because in the first Iron Man, Jensen's like, yeah, we've met already. Like, I know.
Yeah.
And so they go into this elevator, and this guy gives him the spiel of like
he's creating this new
some like
company.
biotech or something like. Yeah.
And he wants the girl that he's with, that Tony's with, to join because she is this excellent scientist who has been working on regeneration of like body parts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But as we find out in this scene, there are glitches.
Right. Because we go back to her room, and she has a plant that she's like done this scientist stuff on, and it explodes.
Well, that's because Happy ripped off its leaves. Happy ripped its leaves off, and it started regrowing them. But before it was done, it exploded.
And then Happy tackles him. He's like, no, not Y2K.
Happy tackled him way after the fact too. He was like talking to him, and then he was like, "Oh, that's right. I'm a protector. I'm supposed to."
So we get the idea of a possible glitch in this like new technology. Then we cut back to the present. And we see on like the side of his armor, it says Mark 42. So like, what was the last movie? Like the Mark, it wasn't even double digits yet. I don't think.
Maybe Mark 8, Mark 9,
something like that. Like, dude, he's skipped.
Yeah.
Like, dude, he's been. We'll figure out later why. I think it's a good explanation as to why he's already up to this.
Yeah.
But
this just shows that that's all he does every day.
Suits. And he injects magnets into his while we're talking about like infusing technology.
I don't know if it's magnets, but it's receivers.
Yeah.
So he's putting electromagnetic receivers into his body.
Yep.
And they're not working.
So he does a little clack with them, and he does like this cool like little stance where like, and then they eventually start like going to him. He's like, "Hey, comment down on the speed a little bit," because one hits him in the groin, and it's like, ooh.
Yeah, he gets hit in the back. He goes flying forwards,
and then the face mask like rises up. He's like, "I'm not scared of you." He does this cool flip, does a superhero landing, but then like something comes from behind and like knocks it all to pieces and stuff. It's nice to know that Tony never changes. Like his confidence is still very much there.
Yeah. Well, I really liked because the sound of this.
Yes.
When he hit his arms to get the magnets or the electrodes to start working, you could hear a jingle because there's so many magnets in his arm.
And also I think, like you guys say, I do agree. These older suits, like where it's still mechanical and stuff, I think I understand why these new suits, like what they're trying to go for. Like obviously something that's like the microorganisms that are like made of metal, or it's kind of weird to me. Yeah,
it's cool.
I imagine that's why it like looks weird to us, because it's like the nanotech, like we'll get into later. It looks a little different, probably just because it's like not new to us, but yeah, these old classic like metal suits, they look pretty sweet.
Yeah. Well, he also, we'll talk about it later.
So then Tony says something like, "Yeah, life was good until I turned the TV on," and he sees this terrorist known as the Mandarin. And they're just, as far as we know, they're just blowing stuff up all over the place and killing high-profile people. Not fun times. And then it cuts to like a bunch of like news sources covering this, and I totally forgot that Bill Maher was in this movie. He's like a kind of like a
He's a night show.
yeah,
host.
he does like a lot of political stuff. And I was like, I didn't know that he was in this movie. And then they make fun of Iron Patriot a little bit because they redid War Machine and they turned it like it's for I understand what they're doing. It's like to rah rah America, and it's
what they did was they took Captain America's suit and put it on this metal suit.
like the
exact
the color palette.
color.
Yeah,
Well, even the star.
the star in the middle.
The star is over top of his.
That's probably why they did
arc
it
reactor.
to get like another like American hero or something like that. It's like, yeah, well, I mean, we'll say it right now. War Machine is way cooler
So much
than
cooler
Iron
than
Patriot.
Iron Patriot.
And then it cuts, and then we like Rhodey and Tony are hanging out, or Rhodes and Tony are hanging out in like this random burger place, I guess. And they're just like talking to each other, and they have like these. I can't remember what their initial disagreement is, but
They're talking about Iron Patriot, right?
yeah, I think yeah,
Their disagreement is that it's a stupid name.
Yeah. yeah. And then this kid comes up to him and wants an autograph from Tony, and it's a picture like it's he's 6, so it's like a crudely drawn picture of him like
carrying the
nuke up the wormhole back in Avengers. And the kid like whispers in his ear, is like, "How did you get out of the worm?" And then like Tony like grabs his chest and he like runs out of the he starts breathing quickly. He runs out of the bar. He's grabbing his chest and he's like, "Hey, somebody!" He gets in the suit and it's like, I didn't notice that.
It's parked like a motorcycle.
Hey, he's in the lines.
True, he is in the lines. But yeah, so he has it run diagnostics
He's
on
like,
his heart.
"Somebody poisoned me.
lungs.
Somebody poisoned me." He's like, and then Jarvis is like, I think you're just having an extreme anxiety attack. And I was like, this is a part that I think is really cool because like it adds like another layer of like humanity and realism to Tony Stark. Because I think it's totally natural to have PTSD and anxiety after almost dying carrying a nuke into a wormhole in space.
Yeah. Well, also fighting for your life and for others' lives.
Yeah. And I guess more that I think about it, it's not totally like forgotten about in Age of Ultron because he's like scared. He wants to put the suit around the world because he's so focused on that. So I guess there's a little bit of carryover, but like
it turns from PTSD into like paranoia.
Yeah. So I guess I don't know. It's not like totally forgotten about, but like it's not really a part of him anymore.
Well, another thing is in the later parts of this movie, we find out that there is a way for him to figure out his way through it.
Right.
It's because he's an engineer, so he builds to forget about it. Yeah.
So then, yeah, from the wormhole, and then it cuts to Pepper and Happy, like kind of running Stark Industries, and Happy is really concerned about name tags.
Because he's head of security, so he wants to be very secure.
And she was like, "Since you took up head of security, complaints have risen 300%." He's like, "That's a good thing."
I imagine if there was already maybe let's say 45 complaints a year, or a month, probably a month or a week, one of those 3, and then it goes up 300%. That's an issue.
So yeah, he takes his job very, very seriously, which later, I mean, will be a help. So then she has a meeting with the guy we met in 1999. Well, I don't remember his first name, but his last name's Killian.
Aldrich.
Aldrich Killian. Yeah, I'll just say Killian.
Yeah.
And he looks completely different. Like he can walk fine now. His hair's sleeked back. His teeth are nice and white and shiny. It's like completely different guy.
And he said it was due to like 3 years of constant physical therapy.
Liar.
Liar.
And then I like how Happy's immediately sus of this guy and also the goon like sitting in the, because he's like, hey buddy. It like he hits the name tag. The guy like holds it up, and then it's which I mean he's totally right to be a little sus of him.
Yeah. So Aldrich? No.
Killian.
Thank you. So Killian was showing Pepper his crazy like brain vision thing. I don't know how to describe that. You know, I mean,
it's just his brain.
He had like a magnet on the outside that he could see throughout his entire brain.
He had like three little balls that he like threw on the ground, and they like showed a projection of like it's like a hologram basically, like in Star Wars, of like the inner workings of his brain.
And then he zoomed in on one spot that there was nothing.
So he wants to upgrade the brain.
Yeah, he said that humanity has evolved to be able to upgrade their brain.
Ooh, what does that mean? And then Happy starts like he FaceTimes Tony, and it's his forehead. He's like, "Hey, forehead of security." He's like, "This guy, Killian, he's here." He's like, "Oh, hey, yeah, I remember that guy." He's like, "Hey, you want to turn the camera around so I can like get started here?" And like, hey, Happy can't turn the camera around on the iPad.
So technically not inclined.
Yeah.
What is the word for that? Uninclined?
I don't know.
Deficit?
He's
not good with technology.
Not good at technology
at all.
And then Tony's talking to him, and he's done with the conversation, so he leaves the phone in the fridge and takes a bottle of wine.
Well, it is date night. So.
True. He's got to get ready for date night.
Yep.
So basically the project is Extremis, and it shows bioelectronic components in the brain. And yeah, Killian just wants to upgrade that, whatever that means. But Pepper turns this project down, but the dude still kisses her. I'm like, I thought that was weird.
On the cheek, like a French goodbye, but he's not French.
Yeah, so cringe.
Weird. So then Pepper
and then
goes back
Happy,
home.
as they're driving away, sticks his hand out with his phone. Everybody can see him, and he takes a picture of their license.
So clearly took a picture of these person's license
They could easily see him in the rearview mirror, probably. But Happy does follow them, like he's on this guy's trail.
Yes.
And then Pepper goes back to Tony's house, and
they're supposed to have date night.
The suit is sitting like on the couch, and she's like, "You're wearing that in the house now?" And I remembered immediately. It's like he's not in the suit. It's not him.
Dude, it's so bad because he's like doing all this nice stuff for her. Meanwhile, he's downstairs doing research.
He's doing pull-ups.
Well, he was also. I mean, there was also a big board of research in front of him.
And so then they have a talk of like, she's like, dude, you have all these suits. You're always down here working. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm totally scared. Like after New York, like I have like one thing that I care about you and I have to protect it. So I think on top of like severe anxiety, I think Tony 100% has like OCD just because of like all the suits that he's working on constantly, like all the time. He's
constantly trying to make them better and better, which is why he's at Mach 42.
Yeah.
Yeah. And throughout the entire show, we see Mach 42. It's not the best suit.
Yeah.
It's still in prototype.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, he says it's not combat ready.
Yeah.
So Happy follows this guy, and he sees him give this other guy, like, this briefcase.
Yeah.
And this guy immediately starts, like, injecting this stuff, and, like, Happy takes one. He's leaving. But then he runs into, like, the bad guy goon, and Happy tries to punch him. Doesn't do anything because this guy, like, there's some red, like, stuff in his face, and, like, he immediately regenerates. And then, Happy gets his butt kicked. And then the dude that took the injections explodes.
Like a bomb. The guy explodes.
Kills, like, a lot of people and severely injures Happy. And then the dude who can like regenerate just walks off.
Dude, that was the coolest scene. Like, one of the coolest scenes in all Marvel.
He's got like half
Giant
his clothes
explosion.
burned off.
Dude, like, breaks out of this explosion and starts walking off into a live street, you know? Like, there are people going and people running, and he just walks.
Does not care.
Does not care.
So yeah, Happy's in the hospital, severe condition, which, yeah, it kind of sucks that Happy's like out of commission for most of this movie.
He's out of commission for the whole movie.
Yeah. And then Tony's sitting in the emergency room with him. I was like, oh, that's kind of sweet. And she tells the nurse, like, make sure everybody has their badges and also put on, like, I can't remember what it is, but
Downton Abbey.
Yeah, he's like, put on the show. He really likes it. I was like, oh, that's that.
Yeah. And then he walks outside, and
he makes a dumb move. But
it's a very dumb move.
Yeah, it's a dumb move because he's fired up. His feelings are hot, and he's not thinking. He tells the Mandarin his exact address. He's like,
he said, today is the day that you died.
Yeah. If you want me, come get me. Here's my address. And I was like, yo.
First of all, really cool. Second of all, Pepper lives there.
Yeah. And he grabs the reporter's phone and throws it at this.
And then he goes, bill me. That to be that rich would be so cool.
Yo. Hell yeah.
You grab somebody's phone, throw it against the wall, bill me.
And then the girl from the beginning, 1999, she shows up to Tony's house. Name is Maya Hansen, and she was like this, super smart, like biotechnology girl. And Tony's like, please tell me there's not a 12-year-old kid waiting outside. He's 13. He has like a little freak out because he's and like Pepper's, as they're like talking, Pepper throws down her bags because she's like leaving. And they're like,
just imagine if Tony was standing underneath those, she still would have thrown them at him.
Oh yeah. And they're like, none of this is normal. It's like the giant bear. It's a giant bear. Get over it. Yeah. And this is a little nitpick I have. It's like Tony has no security, no precautions. Because as they're arguing, Maya's the one that notices on the TV. They don't even notice. It's on the news that a missile is headed straight for his house.
She could have told him sooner.
Like,
but
hey,
they were arguing.
Guys, shut up. There's a missile headed for your house. And like, there's, no defense at all. I think Tony Stark, out of all people, would have something to like deflect a missile.
Especially PTSD Tony, who's creating stuff constantly.
He says like, "Hey, we're still on Ding Dong. I thought we were on full lockdown."
So that could be it, because they weren't on full lockdown.
Yeah, it's possible.
Somebody was able to ding dong their doorbell.
Yeah, so it's like totally like blown up and stuff. Tony, I don't know how he does it, because like Pepper doesn't have the, I guess he could control it. Like he can control where it goes. So he sends the suit to Pepper, so she's all safe and protected.
Well, hold on. We skipped a very crucial part.
What happened?
When he's sleeping and he calls the suit while he's sleeping.
Oh, true.
That is so scary.
Yeah. So Tony's having a bad dream. Which is another classic thing, that he can't sleep with like anxiety and OCD. He can't sleep. Yeah. And then Pepper's like, hey, you're okay. And the suit, like thinking Tony is in danger, like grabs Pepper and he's like shut down. He does a pretty cool like karate chop, but but yeah, no, it's a, I think when you think about it, it's a super sad scene.
Yes. And then she leaves him.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't leave him, but she's
like tinker with that, and it's like she sleeps downstairs, and it's like, it's a tough deal, because it's like he has problems that he's working through. And
I think that the next day is when he gave them the address. So she was pretty done at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. So house getting blown up. Pepper's in the suit. I guess Maya landed in a spot that she wasn't hurt that bad. So, and then Tony and her, like, there's a gap in the building, and she's like, he's like, stopping. Go get Maya. I'll be fine. And so she gets Maya out of the
apartment or the
house.
building. Yeah.
And then Jarvis is like, Mr. Stark Pepper is out of range. And he's like, all right, well, give me the suit. And I thought it was gonna be like super cool and stuff, but it's not combat ready. Like it can't fly, and it's
the missiles won't come out of the arms.
Yeah. So what Tony does though is he uses the like the repulsor, those guns, and he fires a piano through the window.
I mean, this is really cool because it shows like how he doesn't want to wait for anybody.
Yeah,
it was at 70% running diagnostics, and he goes, "All right, cool, let's try it."
Yeah.
Like,
and yeah, when the suit can't fight, he's like, "All right, let's go."
Yeah, so he breaks open the arm, grabs the missile off of the spot, throws it, shoots the repulsor at it.
So he blows up. I think there's three. He chucks a piano at one. He throws a missile at another one, and then the third one, like,
it takes out the supports and he falls into the water.
And then a lot of concrete and some rebar.
I don't think it's rebar. I think it's like that the electrical wires. Like
something gets wrapped around his neck and drags him like down to the bottom. And yeah, the suit's filling up with water.
It doesn't look good.
And then Jarvis is like, "Hey, just chill out. I got this." The hand of his suit like pops off, spins around, and like pulls the stuff off of Tony. I was like, Jarvis, you're so cool.
Well, what happened was it grabbed his hand.
Oh yeah, it pulled him out.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, flies him away. Tony
passes out.
So like a little bit earlier though, Tony was doing some investigative stuff about like the different bombings around the United States.
And was it
3,000 degrees Celsius or something like that? Which pretty friggin' hot.
That's really hot.
And
then he looked for everyone that wasn't by the Mandarin.
So they found the first one in Tennessee. So he creates a flight pattern for Jarvis, and then back to this, everything is blown up. Yeah. The suit flies away, and Tony's passed out. And then he's like, "Sir, wake up," and then it's like we're at 5% power, and then he crashes into the. He's like, "Jarvis, where are we?" He's like, "Tennessee."
Why are we in Tennessee?
He's like, "Who created the flight pattern?" He's like, "Well, you did, sir." And then at first I was confused because, like you said, like it snows in Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, I just. It makes sense, obviously, but I always think of Tennessee and
like
Texas as being hot states.
Yeah. So then, Tony breaks and enters into like into a garage. First he uses telephone to call the helmet of a suit, and he like tells Pepper that he's like, "Yeah, I messed up, but I'm alive." Yada yada, all that good stuff. And then he breaks into this garage, and he's like, I don't know what he's doing. Is he taking the magnets out of his arms, or what? I don't know what he's doing. He's like doing something. It
wouldn't make sense to do that, though, right?
I don't know what he's doing.
I think he's probably taking shrapnel.
It could be.
Because he did get exploded that first time.
True. And then this kid named Harley walks in because it's his house, his garage. Yep. And
he has a potato gun.
He has a potato gun, and he's like, Tony's like, you could do this and that to like make the aim better. And then he shoots the potato and like nails a glass bottle, and Tony's like, all right, now you're out of ammo.
Yeah, Harley just wanted to prove that he made a good gun. Instead, wasted his only bullet.
And basically is like, what's that thing on your chest? Like, what are you doing in here? And then so Tony like leans back and like points the light, and the kid finds out he's Iron Man, and he's like, is that
Iron Man?
And Tony's like, well, I am.
He calls himself the mechanic.
The mechanic. Yeah, he never tells him his name, but he knows who he is. And then the kid rips off the finger. He's like, hey.
He's injured. Stop hurting him more.
And then, so what I like about this relationship between like Tony and Harley, it's like the first trial run he'll have before he meets another teenager a little bit down the line. Tony doesn't do so good with this first, like the kid tells him, it's like, we're your parents. And my mom, it's like, my mom's working at the diner and my dad went to get scratchers because he must have won because he hasn't been back since like
In
whatever
6 years.
And there's a little pause, and Tony goes, "Well, you know, Dad's leave. No need to be a pussy." I was like, "Oh, hey, no, Tony, no."
Wow, Tony, kind of cool, dude. Kind of cool.
But they do have kind of a fun relationship because I think Harley is kind of like on the verge of being like a genius because he has a pretty cool idea of like giving like the stealth suit for the Tony. Like,
Yeah.
it's like he's like, yeah, you know what? I think maybe I'll make one.
But he never does.
Yeah.
It would have been cool.
That would have been sweet.
I think he used that on the shield technology stuff though. Yeah. Because of the
with how the ships disappeared in the sky. Probably. Well, yeah. I remember that line. We'll get to that later.
Yep.
Okay. So. So then we go back to like Maya and Pepper talking.
Yeah. Yep.
And she's like, "What?" So they're driving away, and it's like, "Why did you need to talk to Tony so bad?" Like Pepper asked her, and she's like, "I'm pretty sure her boss is working for the Mandarin, and her boss is Killian." So it's like, uh-oh.
We find out that's not good. That's not good guy.
Not the good guy. Because I don't know if it happens yet about the stage setup with Killian and the Mandarin.
Yeah, I think this is when they do it.
So like
they show that
Killian's like, nobody look him in the eye unless you want to get shot in the face, and like he's standing behind the camera and the Mandarin walks in. Oh no, I think this is a little bit later because he executes a certain guy a little bit later.
Maybe, I guess. I don't know.
But
the whole tracking of the movie is kind of difficult.
A little bit back and forth.
There are pieces you remember, like 100%. You're like, this definitely happened here.
Yeah.
But then there's other spots that's like,
yeah.
I mean, that was kind of cool. I can't figure out exactly when that happened though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so Tony's talking to Harley, and we find out that when you talk about New York and the wormhole, it's a trigger for Tony to like have a
Tony
severe
was doing his research. He went to the actual spot that the guy exploded and stuff. So he's finding out all this information.
And it's super sad because like you saw the shadows of like the people when it exploded, which it's true that does happen. Like with Nagasaki and Hiroshima, like the shadows of the bomb. But it's like, I don't understand how it works though. Like, but it does. But so there were 5 people that died, but
5
there were
shadows, 6 people died.
Yeah. And it's like, so where's that guy? And a pretty like, I don't know, kind of a wild theory is like the kids said, well, around here we think that their shadows are here to like be remembered. They went up to heaven, but this guy's not here because he went to hell.
It's really hard on the mom,
Yeah. So he asked her where the mom of the guy who's suicide bombed, and she's like, well, she's in the local bar. And I don't know.
She's where she always is.
I thought this was kind of weird because I thought how I saw it was this girl was like this nice suit and like kind of a scar on her face. I thought she was leaving the bar, or I don't know. It's like
I think she was walking past, like trying to find it. Maybe
probably.
And then,
but Tony runs into her, and like they just have a quick like little conversation, and then he walks into the bar and he sits down. He starts talking to the mom, and she's like, "Here's this file," and Tony's like, "Oh, you're supposed to be meeting somebody here." And it says, like obviously you can see MIA, missing
it's
in
bled
it.
Through on well, it's bled through because it's written in Sharpie on it. So on the back side of it, it says MIA.
Yeah,
which I thought instantly was like, oh, missing in action. Yep, maybe that makes sense.
Yeah, because he's dead.
Yeah, and he's a military guy, so.
But then the girl in the nice suit and the scar, nice suit, not a nice person. She immediately cuffs Tony and like throws him against the wall, and she's like, Department of Homeland Security, and then the sheriff's in there like, well, hold on now, little.
Yeah, the entire police force is in there drunk.
Yeah. Well, hold on now. I'm gonna need a little bit more information than that. And she's like, whatever, and she just shoots like everybody, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. Yep.
And then so Tony does some like maneuvering to where like the cuffs are like not behind his back. Yeah. They're now like out front, and like he runs away and he runs outside, and then the other goon, the bad guy goon, is there, and he's like, oh, hi, how you doing? And so like he has two guys like after him right now.
Yeah.
And the guy is about to shoot Tony, but then Harley throws a snowball and like hits the guy in the face.
Harley just saved Tony's life.
You'll save him again too.
Yeah.
So Tony like has a fight with her in like some diner, I guess, and this is a pretty cool part too, because it shows how, we'll see it again later, but like how competent he is without the suits. He like creates a fire and he's like, you walked right into this one, but I've been with way hotter chicks than you. And as she's like walking through the flames, he makes a bomb. Like he puts in the guy's dog tags that he got earlier.
Yeah.
And then into the microwave and then unscrews the gas. Yeah. She gets blown up.
And then she lands on power lines.
Yeah. So
she's
probably dead.
And then he gets chased by the other guy.
He grabs the water tower.
So these people, they have like some kind of fire power.
They can regenerate, and they can control fire.
I almost wonder if it's the heat that regenerates them. And so when they don't need it, they can cause things to heat up.
It's possible.
I don't know.
But he drops a water tower onto this town, and like Tony gets caught in like some of the rubble.
Yeah.
And this guy grabs the kid.
Well, before that, right? Before that, Tony.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I'm never fully unarmed, and then he like throws his hand up.
Well,
a tiny.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Wait a bit. I guess something we totally forgot. When they first met in his garage, he gives him like a little like thing. He's like, "Yeah, it's for bullies." He's like, I'm just assuming that you get bullied.
Yeah, he's like, you look like a kid who would get bullied.
So then as this bad goon has Harley, and Tony's like, it's okay, it's not your fault, kid. Remember what I told you about bullies? And he grabs this thing out, and it's basically like a flash grenade into like this guy's face. And he drops Harley, and then Tony whips out it's like a one-use
repulsor.
Like a one-use deal, because it's like it gets hot, he like throws it away, and then a little bit of leverage, and he gets out of the.
Blew the dude's face off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Completely.
But not dead.
Yes, not dead. Then Tony steals his car keys.
True, and he drives away.
Well, can we talk about the funny part?
Oh, true. Because, he's like, you need me. We have a connection. Harley's, like, giving all this stuff to him. And he's like,
Then Harley goes, I'm cold. He goes, I know. We have a connection.
You know how I know? We have a connection.
He drives off without Harley.
I mean, doesn't need him, I guess. But
no, not really.
So then
Harley goes back to his house.
This is where we get to like the stuff with like the Mandarin and Killian working together.
Yes. Okay.
And the Mandarin executes Tom.
Some senator.
Nah, some senator. We can't execute Tom.
He didn't actually kill him though.
Yeah. We'll find out. It's all kind of BS later. But Tony was going through the files, and when you flip over MIA, you get AIM, and that's the company that's like, oh, Well, there you go.
Yep, not good.
And so Tony goes to like, he needs to like have like Wi-Fi and like his computer and like enough signal to like hack into like AIM's database.
Yeah.
So he needs Gary.
Gary's just some guy
who really likes
who
Tony.
really likes Tony.
he even has
the haircut, the beard. He's like, he has a tattoo of his face.
It doesn't.
Based off of a doll that he made of Tony.
And it's not.
It's not.
It's like, he looks like he's like, oh, is it a Mexican like rendition of me or something? But so Tony gets in and he finds out that it's oh shoot, what does he find out? He finds the videos of like all the testing.
Well, what he doesn't hack into AIM. He hacks into I want to say War Machine, but Iron Patriot's data information.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was done by AIM, his new rebranding and stuff.
And he sees Killian injecting just people with this stuff, and we see some of the people that he's fought already, but then we see one dude who just
Yeah.
And it's like,
yep, not good.
GG. So like all these bombings are, just people that have taken this stuff.
It's the glitch. They never fixed it.
So basically, they use ex-army people with amputations or some other like deficiency, and they give them a drug. It's like a super drug, and it heals them, and it gives them like weird powers.
Yeah, they grow their limbs back.
Yes.
But if they can't regulate, and meaning they can't control it, they explode.
Go boom. And it's produced by Killian. And then we find out, with a little talk with Maya Pepper, that she inadvertently created this stuff. Yeah. And then we find out it's not.
It wasn't inadvertently.
Because then we find out that Maya and Killian are working together, and it makes me angry. It's like, we trusted you, we liked you, but you're a bad guy.
You're a bad person.
Or bad woman, my bad.
Bad person.
Yeah,
so they kidnap
Pepper. Yeah, and this is like, well, now we're going to get Tony in on this, because if he doesn't, get rid of Pepper. It's like, oh, damn, good plan. evil plan, but that's a good plan. And then Rhodey's just been like doing missions in Afghanistan.
Well, he's been trying to find
the Mandarin.
Yeah, they keep getting pings for where the Mandarin's coming from.
So he's just busting into shops and stuff, and all he's finding so far is like sweatshops for Nike.
He breaks into one, and then they go, "We're free, thank you, we're free." And he goes, "You're free now if you weren't already."
Well, it is the Middle East.
Yeah. And then everybody shakes his hand, and the last person
grabs it and like
be bad,
and like grabs it and like melts his hand, and then like short circuits like the whole suit, I guess, somehow.
Well, they knock him out.
Yeah.
They go, what
But you.
I just did some karate moves for those who can't see.
So while this is happening, like, Tony is charging his suit back at Harley's garage.
While he's also looking for where the Mandarin's coming from.
And then, so he pulls over because he's like,
he was having a panic attack.
Yeah, he pulls over and he's like, I can't do this. Like, Pepper's in trouble now. He's like, I can't do this. He's like, I didn't even say New York. He's like, well, you just did now.
We didn't even talk about the wormhole yet.
And then he's like, and then Harley gives him some pretty good advice. He's like, just think through it. You're a mechanic. And he's like, I mean, I think I've had like a couple, but like and it's different for everybody. But like, yeah, that's the mindset you really got to get into. Just like breathe slow. It is like, everything's good. You're going to do it. And like, so how Tony beats it. Yeah. He just thinks through it. He becomes the mechanic.
Yeah. He solved his PTSD by thinking.
By thinking.
So he goes to a hardware store and just starts getting all this stuff.
He gets like
ornaments and like
it's like ant repellent, and he gets darts, and he gets like a glove, like a Kevlar glove to like retract, like, and then he puts like electricity stuff on the glove. Dude, he suits up.
Yeah, he makes another Iron Man suit.
Just like it's like the knockoff Iron Man.
The Gardner version.
And he infiltrates this place, and he makes like darts and stuff to knock out people.
I don't know if he's knocking them out. It looks like he's just straight up.
And then he make grenades out of like, I don't know how he made grenades out of the ornaments, but
there have to have been two like compounds that go together to just explode or something. Because it only exploded when the guy picked it up. Like it didn't explode until the guy picked it up upside down.
And then one guy was in the pool, or like and then he drops one in there, and I'm pretty sure he's already dead.
So Tony gets inside.
Yes.
All the way to the Mandarin's bedroom.
Yes.
And at this point,
got him right where he wants him.
Yeah.
Big scene building up. Oh, it's just Trevor.
It's an English actor.
The Mandarin is fake. And
Trevor spills all of it.
Yes.
He spills it all.
Oh, they gave me so many things. They gave me drugs. They gave me plastic surgery. It's like, yeah, actor, you'll never see me coming. It's like, yeah, it's all baked up.
It's so good.
So I remember when this movie came out that people were pissed because like the Mandarin in the comics is like pretty like BA. Like it's a very cool character, and it's like, you disrespected the character. I was like, don't worry, guys. That comes later.
It's coming.
But so as of now, I don't mind it as a goof. Yeah. And I think also for Killian's plan, like as Tony finds out, it's Killian that created the Mandarin. I think it makes a lot of sense.
I think it makes 100%.
If you want to work in the shadows and do your nefarious things, have a guy that the world is looking for that's not you. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, so he has been doing this healing.
Yeah.
But he's also been accidentally blowing things up.
Yeah.
So every time it doesn't work,
they use these accidental bombings as terrorist attacks, which is well, sort of what it is, but not really.
They also set up the areas for where they drop off these drugs.
Yes.
So they pick highly populated areas.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't work out, they just blame it on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really mind the swerve. But unfortunately Tony's captured and knocked out.
But before that, he gives him everything.
Oh yeah. And the guy's like, "What did you tell him anything, Trevor?" He's like, "Nope. Absolutely nothing." Dude, he spilled everything.
The guy goes, "Why didn't you hit the panic button?" Well, I wasn't panicking.
True. He was nodding off and drinking beer.
Dude, he fell asleep in the middle of.
Tony's like, you have a minute to uncomplicate it, or else I blow your face off.
Yeah.
Which I understand why Tony's so pissed, because his best friend is in the hospital.
Yeah, because of the Mandarin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the bad dude shows up, knocks out Tony, and he's like,
so now Tony's tied up
on this like bed frame. It looks like. And Maya's there and Killian is there, and Tony's like really pleading with Maya. He's like, you used to have like a conscience. You used to have a moral like stuff in this. And he's like, and she's like, times have changed and whatnot. And then she is about to like, and the Killian's explaining like his nefarious plan and stuff like that.
Well,
and like why he got to the way he was, because you left me up on this building.
Yeah.
Like I was about to jump off this building because of you, Tony. But he's like, you know what? You gave me sight. Tony's like, whoops, I created another villain.
Well, the thing is, she wanted him.
Yes.
Because he knew how to fix.
While he was drunk 13 years ago, he
on the back of his name tag, he wrote how to fix it.
He wrote the equation.
She couldn't figure out what the equation meant.
So now she's like, so she over here, obviously, because she's standing right next to Killian.
Right.
She hears all this like stuff that he's planning to do, and it's like, she's like, no. Yeah. So she picks up some of the drugs of like the extremists, and she's like, this is 10 times what it would take to kill me. And he's like, oh, hey, like I do like the actor who plays Killian. Like he's so like psychotic to where like he has these certain mannerisms where he's like, she's about ready to stab herself, and she's like, hey, what are you doing? Why do you got to do that? He's like, well, we can't have that, and he shoots her. And
bam, done. She's dead.
It's like, well, whoops. So how you gonna perfect it now, genius?
So he thought now he has Tony, who can 100% just fix it immediately. So he's planning on having Tony do it instead of her. So
because he has, as we see, he has Pepper.
Yes.
And he has injected Pepper with this stuff, and she's like in pain, like pleading out, and she's like, you see the red stuff, like, and then you see in Tony's face, he is uber pissed now.
So mad.
So they have Rhodey.
Well, then he leaves to go.
Yes, to do something evil stuff.
Figure out how to get.
So this transition makes a little more sense because he's like, they want the Iron Patriot. They want the
Iron Patriot to be a
Trojan horse
to get close to the president.
The only problem is Rhodey's in the suit.
Yep.
And so what Killian does is he heats up his hand and he just puts it on Rhodey's chest. So he's like being cooked in this suit. And I was like, oh my God, that's gotta be like one of the worst ways to like one of the worst torture.
Yeah.
And then so Rhodey's like, don't get me out of the suit. Don't get me. He's like, you know what? Fine, get me out of the suit. And it opens up, and he like punches the first goon. It
does nothing.
It does
nothing.
And then Killian breathes fire.
Yeah. What? So not only does he have firepower with his hands, but he can shoot out his mouth.
Sure.
That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, if they have fire powers, why not? I don't know.
No, it doesn't make sense. You can't just breathe fire, because if it's the healing factor that's causing the firepower, how do you breathe healing factor? If that's in my mind, I guess, because I assume that the way they heal is it's like it heats up and then it heals. What's he healing if he's breathing fire?
Maybe like you said, it's the excess power that he has. And he's just figured out a way to release it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yep. I don't know.
Adds up.
I don't know. It's a guy who has superpowers. It's like, who cares?
We think it kind of a cool scene because it cuts back to Tony, right?
Yeah, and he's talking to the guards, and he's like, okay, I'll give you like 3 seconds. You guys have like a minute to leave here. Tie yourselves up, and I'll let you live. He's like, and they're like, how did we get this shift? And then, I didn't notice that the watch beeps. The limited edition Dora watch, it starts to beep, and I didn't catch that. That's how you know that the suit is charged.
Yeah, he did the calculations to figure out when the suit would be fully charged. And then he asked how far away wherever they are is from Tennessee, and he goes, all right. He's doing the math in his head to get the seconds.
The goon says it immediately. He's like 832. It was like, hey, that's what I'm there for. He's like, that's pretty good maths. He's like, all right, you guys have 3, 2.
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens like 3 or 4 times, and the guard's like, ooh, that's real scary. And then finally the hand comes and he like shoots the repulsor and.
But he's still attached to the bed, so the bed spins around.
Yes. He eventually like gets free and he grabs one of like one of the Uzis, I guess.
Yeah.
And
it's such a cool fight scene.
He takes on all these guys with and he doesn't have his full suit. Like he has a hand, he has a boot, and he's still taking on all these guys, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah. No, what I really liked was he was spinning, shooting the Uzi in a circle while spinning.
And he does kind of like this workaround where like guys are shooting at him, and then he like dodges it and like it hits the bad guy that he's next to.
Yeah.
So he takes out a lot of the dudes.
Yeah. So he gets out.
Then the one dude, he like holds the gun and the repulsor. He's like, you know what? These guys are so weird. I don't like working here. And then Tony just waves to him bye.
Yeah. Tony and Rhodey get out.
Yes. And then, so the Iron Patriot lands on Air Force One.
Air Force One.
And they're like, oh, hey.
Hello, Mr. President.
He's like, I'm glad to have you on this trip. And it's like, usually you talk to us. Why aren't you talking?
Yeah, no, it's really weird.
So the Iron Patriot is the Trojan horse. It's the bad goon who gets on there. And he kills.
He starts killing everybody
Kills a lot of people, and then he locks some people in a closet for some reason. I don't know why. Just
to keep him away from him. All he could do is bad stuff.
And he's about to. Oh no, he.
We see
puts the president in the suit.
Yeah, we see the Iron Patriot fly away.
And so this guy, I don't know why he hangs out on the plane exactly. The bad goon guy, I don't know.
Because he doesn't have a way off.
True.
Well,
true.
That's what he had. He had a parachute on.
True.
So he was about to jump when Tony showed up, punched him in the face.
Yeah, he's like, he didn't know where like Tony was, and a hand punches through the plane and like repulsor like shots him. And so they have tussle, and
really,
so like
really
he grabs the guy grabs Tony's hand, is like melting it, and like they're like, and then he like throws their hands up, they like break apart, and like I imagine what is like his strongest like beam he can fire, like shoots right through the guy's
chest beam.
And Tony has a really cool line though. He's like, "Come back from that, you son of a."
Super cool, super duper cool.
So yeah, no, Tony, you don't mess with Tony when like you put Pepper in danger, because he'll be out for blood.
And then Tony breaks into that closet where there were 13 people.
Yes.
And the last person's just flying out of the ship at this moment.
Yes. So Tony he's like, how many people are there? 13. How many can I hold? 4.
What?
So they do like this barrel of monkeys thing where they all hold like
and
each other.
He electrocutes their hands so they can't let go of each other.
It's slight electrocution.
That's just super cool.
Yeah. And then they're all together, which is very cool. So like, and then Tony flies them down and like drops them into the water.
Puts on the brakes. Yeah.
And then he flies onto the highway and he gets hit by a semi.
Pieces like, fall apart.
Wait, Tony, how you? Oh, he's remote.
Tony wasn't even in it, dude.
Tony's remote controlling the suit from the boat
so cool.
that Rhodey's in.
Yeah.
So then they have the final showdown they find out where the president is. He's in the Iron Patriot suit, and they're gonna like symbolism. They have the president tied up in the Iron Patriot suit, and they're gonna drop oil and like explode the president.
So what happened was the president had like signed a bill to not have anybody who was a part of like a giant oil spill
clean it up, basically. Yeah.
Take any kind of responsibility for it.
Yeah.
So I mean, they have a point.
Symbolism.
Yeah, but it was also
shouldn't mean you should murder people though.
Yeah. I mean,
whoa.
Obviously, you should murder people. Yeah. So, but what he was really doing was he was going to kill the president because he has the vice president in his pocket.
Yes.
So he was going to have the number one trusted guy in America and the number one hated guy.
And then after the president dies, obviously it's the vice president that takes office. Yeah. So
super cool.
Yeah, very good plan. Very evil plan,
yes.
But very good plan.
And in this moment, we see how Rhodey and Stark go together.
Yes.
Because Rhodey takes point on this infiltration plan.
Yeah. It's cool to see how, like, Tony out of his element. Because, like, is your gun up? Yeah.
Yeah, watch our back. Yep, watching the back.
It's very cool because, like, it gives, like, Rhodey, like, a pretty good rub here because, like, he's the military guy, so he'll take charge on this infiltration. And, like, Tony's shooting this guy next to, like, a light bulb. He's like, what? You can't hit the light bulb. And then, like, Rhodey...
You think I can hit the light bulb from this range? This is crazy.
And then he immediately nails it.
And then Tony shoots all of his bullets, and he's like, just give me one of yours. Give me one of yours.
Mine don't fit that good. So
Tony calls for every... What is it? Clean house? He calls for every single suit that he's ever built.
So... They has fight with it's 3 goons and Killian.
I think it's more than 3 goons.
I thought you said it was...
At first it was 3 goons and Killian.
So then...
But every single person on the boat was bad.
All of his suits show up. And, like, some of them have that was my thing. I was hoping for a little bit more, like, variation in his suits. There's, like, 2 or 3 that have, like Igor.
Yeah,
Igor's pretty
Igor,
fun.
Which is basically like the precursor to Hulkbuster. You've got the
one
I call him jackhammer hands because
it's jackhammer on his hands.
He's got jackhammers on his hands. And then you've got the Kevlar shoulder pads.
Yes,
like the football player looking guy.
Which I don't know what the purpose of that would be.
I mean, probably like it's just to break through walls faster.
Yeah, probably.
But like all of these suits. he just built them.
Yeah.
Like for no other
Just 'cause he
reason
could.
just to do it.
So they fight the bad guys. Tony fights Killian.
Yeah.
And Rhodey's like handling the other guys. And he saves the president. And
he really needs a suit.
Yeah. So he gets into the Iron Patriot.
And he flies the president away, so the president is completely safe now. And it's only Tony fighting and Killian. Yeah.
Killian's got some pretty sick powers though.
Yes.
Like Tony slices his hand off and he just grows it back.
Well, and even his hand still melts through the
a lot of his suits, yeah. Like he goes through like 2 or 3 suits just fighting Killian.
Well, that was the thing. He said that all of those suits were only built for Tony.
Yes.
So like he couldn't put Pepper into one.
Yeah.
He couldn't put Rhodey into one.
Speaking of Pepper, Tony goes to like rescue her, but then she falls because like something like shifts and she like falls
400 feet
into fire.
Let go. I'll catch you. She lets go. He doesn't catch her.
Well, I think she's going to let go, but like something shifts and she falls. She falls a lot, like really far,
like 400 feet
into fire. It's like, GG, Pepper.
R.I.P.
So Tony's got nothing but vengeance on his mind now against Killian. And so then he's like, oh, I'll be damned. The prodigal son returns. It's the Mark 42 that flies. And it's like barely flying and it's like damaged and stuff.
Really bad.
So it like Tony calls it to him and it like destroys on him. Like it hits the rail and it like just breaks apart onto the ground. He's like, well, now what? So it's pretty sweet. Tony's last call is he directs the suit to Killian and he's like, blow it up. Yeah. And it like you hear like his scream until like the face mask hits it. I was like, oh, that's pretty sweet.
But then the entire helmet, like Tony falls all the way to the floor, but safely because he calls another suit to.
Yeah, he's got like the foot of like this.
Yeah. So then the helmet from the 42 hits the ground, and Tony's like, "There's a head in there. There's a head in there." Mask falls off. No head. He goes.
Okay.
I don't know if he's relieved that there isn't a head or if he's not relieved.
And then, like, Terminator style, like, Killian rises from the ashes, and he's like, you wanted the Mandarin, and here I am. And, like, Tony's done here. Like, he's about to die.
Yeah.
And then Pepper shows up, and she, like, beats the crap out of...
Fire powers!
She, like, beats the crap out of Killian. He's, like, running towards her. She kicks up a missile, like, into him, and then, like, I don't know how it explodes.
Well, then she grabs... Oh, yeah, that's what it was. She grabs one of the suits onto her hand, and then she, like, repulsors him, and doesn't that kills him, yeah?
Explodes the missile, yeah, he's dead. And he's like... Tony's like, honey, are you still mad at me? And she's like, what is wrong with me? He's like, you know what? He's like, this is not normal. He's like, can you take care of this? He's like... And Tony's like, well... You're in a relationship with me. It's like nothing's ever going to be normal, but this I can fix.
I almost solved this when I was drunk 13 years ago.
So then he realizes that he has to like stop this like compulsion. Like he has to shave down a little bit on the suits and like take care of himself and Pepper. So he initiates clean slate where he like destroys all the suits that are around him.
I think it was clean house was the initiate to get all the suits out of the house.
Yeah.
And then clean slate was get rid of all of them.
He says he shaves a little bit off. So like he's getting rid of most of them, but not all.
I don't know. I feel like he might have got rid of all of them. And then he like
that's just wrong because we'll see you later.
What if he starts building them again immediately afterwards?
So this movie had so this movie didn't mean anything, really.
Yes and no. I don't know. It was really cool. We got to see all these different variants of the suit, though.
Tony gets the metal out of his chest in the surgery at the end.
Yes. At the very end, he goes, well, we solved Pepper's issue as well as mine.
Yeah. So it really is a clean slate. And then also he gives Harley this like sick garage.
Yes.
With like all the different... He gives him a car. He gives him like a Mustang.
He already had the car.
Oh.
I think he might have just cleaned it.
Okay.
And he gives him like a dummy junior.
A dummy junior.
In the explosion of the house, Dummy was hurt.
But it's okay because Tony got him on the back of in a trailer.
True.
But yeah, it really is kind of a clean slate. And I don't know, this movie to me, that's kind of the end. This movie to me, it's kind of the forgettable one. I think it's kind of the mid one. Like it's fun, but like I don't think it really. Like I think the development with the PTSD and anxiety was Tony and stuff. That's cool, but like other than that, there's really not a whole lot of substance going on here.
Yeah. I think that a really important part of the movie was it showed that he has changed.
Yeah.
And that he's making different suits.
Yes.
I think that's like the main two takeaways is he's making other suits besides just the one we see.
Right.
And he has some issues going on.
But like overall, I think it's fine. But it's sort of middle ground for me, maybe like a 5 or a 6. Like it's fine, but like 5 or 6 out of 10.
I mean, thinking back on how memorable it is versus how like cool the fight scenes and stuff are.
Yeah.
The memorability is a 5. But the fight scenes for me, because anything that has like cool fight scenes automatically goes up to like a 6 or 7. So I'm gonna give it like a 6.5 because it's a very good Marvel movie.
Oh yeah,
because of the fights, but the actual content isn't that great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please let us know at silverscreenpod@gmail.com. And thank you for listening.